everybody out there on the internet? It's me, the Roller Geezer again, and today I'm at Toby Park in Memphis, Tennessee, home of the infamous scar that has started to finally heal over. Today I'm going to try something a little bit different. It's actually a tutorial of sorts because I got a question from Zachary Basin. I'm sorry, I cannot read. So I'm going to attempt to read some more. He says, this is from my Topsides only challenge. He says, you got any tips for locking in topsides? I just learned my first topside trick the other day, top acid. Good for you. Now it wasn't my first. And I'm having trouble locking it on taller obstacles. And I keep overshooting and my topside foot ends up sliding across the ledge. Alright, so when it comes to topsides, everyone's a little bit different. My first topside, believe it or not, was a topside porn star. Although it looked more like a topside sidewalk, which I believe is called a boardwalk. If I find it, I'll throw it up here as B-roll. This is the actual night in which I learned it with my friend Curtis at a place called Harrison Steel Elementary in Tucson, Arizona. Some of you may know that rail from Brain Fear Gone. Dustin Latimer does a crazy disaster on it. But yeah, that's how I learned. And everyone's topsides are a little bit different. I don't know anybody else who's ever learned topside that wasn't like topsoil or top acid first. Most people stick to those two. Like I said, my first was a top porn. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to do it first on a ledge, because I think for a ledge it's a lot harder, because with a rail you got more leeway and leverage. So give me a couple minutes to warm up a little bit, and then I'll go through the steps with you. Okay, so it's going to be a little weird because I'm explaining this with my feet and not looking at you, but anyway, the one thing that I remember specifically from a boot camp that John Elliott did on Daily Bread about topsides was always imagine that when you go for a topside trick, that thing that you're grinding is splitting you in half. So when it comes to topsides, when you jump up, which is a difference between what you do in a sole trick and a topside trick, is you're trying to kink over with your sole foot. So this is nice, but with the topside, don't focus on the sole frame. Focus. I should learn how to do this better. Focus with the actual frame itself. This is what's supposed to be down. And so, making sure that you can somehow nail and line it up like so is going to be key for you. That's why I've seen other YouTubers say practice cess sliding that trick first, or things to that effect, which aren't bad ideas, but for me, it's all about the committal. Another thing that I would totally recommend, make sure that whatever it is that you're grinding is a little bit higher. As you can see, this is just under knee height for me. Topsides are a little bit harder for lower obstacles. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but you gotta really feel it. And so the thing that I totally recommend, find yourself something decent height, between shin and knee height, to do it, because getting that lock is going to be important. Because the first thing that I always notice, and it still happens with me on occasion too, when you go for the jump, you miss the lock, because most people are trying to jump over and like what they do for a normal trick, and so trying to get that lock without sliding out is rather tough. So you're jumping just straight up, and focusing that this frame is going to grab onto it is the best thing to do. So like I said, most people learn with topsoil or top acid first. There is, and Jonathan Hayes just brought this to mind here a couple weeks ago for me. It's basically the way in which you open up your open up your hips. Acids don't, whereas topsoils do. So I'm going to set up the camera so that you can see how I set up my topsoils, and hopefully it'll start to make sense to you. So there you have it, topsoil and top acid. Like I said, remember what you're grinding on. It's the frame. I'm going to jump up, lock on top of the frame, not the sole. Hand placement, I keep my stuff up high like I'm a member of the village people doing the YMCA, but that's just me, and that's how I've learned to balance. I mean, you see how my top acids are. It's like I'm trying to balance dishes. But yeah. I don't know, this was kind of fun. If you want to see more of these tutorials on how to do whatever trick, I'll do my best if I can do that trick. Can't make any promises, but hey, maybe it'll be a learning process for the both of us. So yeah, do all the things, Horse Moment Media on Facebook, and Roller Geezer on Instagram, and I'll see you next time.